Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mom Your Own Way. I'm Lily Coco, and today my guest is Jennifer Lopez, just like J-Lo, but the other Jennifer from the other block. And today we're going to talk about kind of balancing out the working mom with making sure you're still at home, being present with your kids, and kind of balancing that act. We all know motherhood is a big balancing act, so we're going to get into that, as well as talking about her book, Why I Cried. I'm really excited about hearing that, and then she's got other things that she's working on, so let's just dive in and get to know Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hi. I love that your name is Jennifer Lopez. When it first hit my inbox, I was like, that can't be.
Yeah, I like to, we try to leverage it. We try for dinner reservations occasionally. It's, kind of disappoints people, but I get good tables, so it's fine.
I bet. That's really smart to do for the dinner reservations. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
South
really
Florida, so it works.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very fancy. You could probably get away with it in like LA too. Just like full on Hollywood. Schedule yourself a rezo and then get in all the nice restaurants. You'll get the nice chef's table.
Disappoint the staff a little bit. The staff is like, oh.
They've seen enough of J-Lo there, so they would be eager. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's so nice to meet you. I'm so excited to get to know you. I'm eager to hear about the book. And then you also mentioned that you have a second book.
Yes, I have another one hopefully coming out by the end of the year. But yeah, I'd love to chat about the book I have out now and what it's all about.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I'd love to hear more just about you and your motherhood journey, your personal journey, wherever you want to start that. If it's a childhood, that's great too. But I just want to get to know you as a person, and then let's jump into the book. And I'm really interested into your how you're doing on the balancing thing, because I know it's just so much work, and I know other moms out there are just trying to figure it out, because there's so many things that come into play then between our taking care of ourselves, taking care of another human being, then the emotional aspect of things, the physicality of things, and actually being away or being home, or there's just so much that goes into it. And from the sounds of it, it sounds like you got a kind of good handle on it. So
I like to think I have a good handle on it. So I'm happy to share. I have a ton of things to share today that'll hopefully be really actionable for your listeners. So a little bit of background on me. I am a wife to a serial entrepreneur, which now I guess I get to call myself that too, now that I run my own business and have written books. So I guess now that's me too.
Yay.
And I am a mother to 3 kids. So my oldest just turned 4 last month. And then I have a 2.5-year-old, my daughter Caroline, and then my daughter Carly, who is 9 months old. So kind of feel like sometimes it's like running in a rat race with all of these kids, and then trying to, number one, work from home, which I worked from home pre-pandemic, so I've been doing this for a while. But running my own company, I run a digital ad agency, and then, as you know, I also kind of for fun have decided to start writing some books. So those are more about motherhood and kind of that journey. So my first book is called Why I Cried, Tales from Hysterical Pregnant Women. It's available on Amazon, Target.com, Walmart.com. And it is a compilation of stories of all the reasons why my friends and I, many moms that I've gotten to know, have cried during pregnancy. So it's super fun. Proceeds from bulk orders go to Postpartum Support International, which helps deal with perinatal mental health disorders and, a lot of the postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. They really help support women and families experiencing those things. So super passionate about it. But the stories are super fun. It's from all different types of mamas. So each chapter we walk through like a different mama's pregnancy, if you will. And so there's young moms and single moms and divorced moms and military moms even included. And so it's kind of a take into each person's different journey. And kind of the idea of the book is to really encourage women to, kind of laugh at these things. Sometimes they can be so frustrating when you're having those hormonal moments, or the mom brain where you're forgetting things. It's it can be a time. And so reading this book from all different types of moms is really supposed to kind of help you lean in and find the joy in pregnancy again and find the camaraderie. being 3 pregnancies in, I've had some that were harder than others. So laughter is always the best medicine, right?
Yeah, I'm such a big fan of that because something I experience and something that I hear from moms common is how quick and easy it is to feel so alone. And within the social media world where we see the really pretty pictures of everyone smiling, having a good time, you're just like, wow, they really got this motherhood down. And I'm over here crying because one of my friends, I think her like Oreo broke, and so she ended up crying. It wasn't because of the Oreo, but because of her emotions through pregnancy and so many things, And when you explain these things to anyone, if you just say, "Oh, I cried because of a cookie broke," it sounds like you're just have lost your marbles. But when you consider all the things that really go into it, how your hormones go completely out of whack and imbalance, technically all balanced perfectly for your body, but it's imbalance in what we're used to as a human being. And so you mix all of this in, and then you get the mom guilt, the little, I heard postpartum depression while I was pregnant a lot. I heard like PPD. I was like, okay, so there's a thing. I did not hear PPA very common. And I just recently found out that I was going through postpartum anxiety, and didn't even know it. And so it kind of comes in waves, these reminders of how much we don't talk about the things that are actually very common. I'm not going to say normal, but they are very common through pregnancy, through postpartum, through just motherhood in general. And because we're so used to like the Pinterest, Instagram world, they aren't as exposed as much. And so it's easy to feel alone when you're experiencing these emotions or these feelings or these, you can even call setbacks sometimes because you haven't seen it or haven't heard that anyone else is experiencing them. So you're like, man, am I the only one that's really experiencing these really horrible, morbid, intrusive thoughts? Like, what is wrong with me? And then you hear from other moms like, no, I also think if I close my eyes, my baby's going to slip in the shower, roll down the stairs, and then hit themselves with a fork. And like these weird stories come about, which is what I love. And it was one of the reasons I wanted to start the podcast, is to start the conversations with moms to get rid of that loneliness.
Yeah, 100%. No matter how much moms look like they have it together. I mean, we all know behind the scenes, it's a different story. I have had friends without kids reach out to me just based on my Facebook posts and things that I'm talking about and doing, and understanding that I'm still running my business and staying at home with the kids. And so many people are like, you make motherhood look easy. You have it all figured out. And I'm like, I text them, I'm like, girl, that is nice to hear that that's what that picture looks like. But I let them know that this is, it is very, very hard. And I'm always the first one to stop and say that, like, behind the scenes, like, I love that I posted a picture and it looks great. Like, we're all happy. Like, we just had a huge temper tantrum, like, right before this. So,
Always.
Yeah. So what's really important now, and, kind of outside of the book, is now that, I'm deeper into that motherhood journey, I now have 3 kids, and so quick, back to back, like 4, 2.5, 9 months, is really finding that balance and what that looks like for me. I experienced a lot of different things postpartum, but actually while pregnant, I experienced a couple forms of pregnancy rage, which was very different to me, and something talked about even less than postpartum depression. So I was just running around angry, like I was the angriest person.
Really?
And so luckily, once baby came out, I actually, like, the hormones, I feel like I kind of reset, and I was actually like much more level-headed and calm, like, once baby was out. But I was going to therapy during that time that I started feeling a little bit out of control and kind of ragey. And the theme of my therapy session, first of all, I had a great therapist who was like, oh my gosh, she was also a mom of 2 and pregnant with a third. So we were at the same, like, I had my 2, I was pregnant with a third when I started seeing her. And I started kind of doing little things here and there, like giving myself a free pass, like, today I'm gonna, not do the laundry, or today I'm gonna do this. And I started to find easier ways to do things. Of course, during the pandemic, we're all like signing up for Instacart and grocery deliveries and things like that. I'd been doing that for years, but finding little ways like that to kind of take some of that expectation off, because I'm a go person. I like to do everything. I'm like a do-it-all. And sometimes not everything can get done. And you got to give yourself some breaks. You got to, stop the mom guilt over that. But at the same time, I've also found really optimized ways to do a ton of stuff in a day. And so that's kind of the tech mom resources that I wanted to chat about, and kind of like through the day, all of the helpful tons of apps and tech that kind of help get me through the day and make things so much quicker and help provide that balance.
I'd love to hear I guess maybe walk us through your daily routine and what does that look like where you're including these apps or technology that's helping you? Because I'm interested to see, if it's helping you within the workload or the kid world or the mom, because there are so many different apps and so many different technologies. But I mean, we're all here to listen to all the tools that are going to help us.
I will tell you everything. So that's perfect because this is, morning to night. I can definitely give you a walkthrough of how I do my day. So the first thing was I was taking some courses not long ago where it became really clear to me that one thing that would really help me in my parenting journey is waking up before my three kids. I was like, this is going to be like a 4 a.m. wake up call for me. But if I could just sit and have coffee in peace, I just am like a much kinder, lovable human being, right? And so I started saying, I'm going to wake up 10 minutes earlier today, 15 minutes earlier tomorrow, and I'm eventually going to get up a half hour before my kids, where I'm going to get dressed, I'm going to have that cup of coffee, I'm going to feel great. It didn't happen. We kept trying. There's three of them, and it ended up being my son actually who was waking up first, and he was kind of like waking up the household, if you will. And so one of my first tech resources is getting them an okay to wake clock. So those are the clocks that turn different colors. So it'll turn like red right before bedtime, and then it can turn green when they're like allowed out of the room. So what I did is I set him up with some safe activities like puzzles. Like he's definitely like a puzzle Lego type kid. So I set him up with some things and showed him his brand new weight clock, and like, this is a big deal. You're like a grown up with your own alarm clock, and it'll turn like yellow in the morning, like when you can start waking up, moving around your room, but we don't come out until it turns green. So this took some time. It took a while to get him super into it, but once he did, that kind of gave me back a little bit of my morning time. I found preparing activities and stuff in his room for him, kind of new things for him to do, because when he was coming out before time, it was usually just boredom. So that's my first okay to wake clock for your kid, is like my first tech tip. The next one is interesting. The next one's for me. So the next one is about getting dressed. So I found that my body had went through so many changes with 3 pregnancies. I've been like every size imaginable. And I was losing the weight in between, and then I didn't lose weight this last round. And so I found that getting dressed was just way too overwhelming for me in the mornings. And so I would just stay in my PJs. I would put on yoga pants and do whatever was easiest. I was working from home, and I was like, does it matter? But it does matter, because when you dress up, you show up a little bit differently, and you hold your head a little bit higher. The confidence, even if things feel like a mess, I think that really helps, just getting dressed. And so one thing I did is I went through my whole closet, and I won't say I got rid of it. I donated a lot of stuff. The rest I moved to a separate closet in a different bedroom, and I left myself with only 21 pieces of clothing. It's called a capsule wardrobe. They can all mix and match together. And so it's all stuff that fits. It's all stuff that goes together. There's lots of layering. I mean, I'm in Florida, so I'm like unlayering a lot, but there are layers. And so, yeah, this is like one of my easy throw together outfits. And the way I got into capsule wardrobe was an app called Cladwell. So Cladwell, you can upload items. It's an app for your phone. You can upload items of what's in your closet, so you can take pictures, or you can find similar items in like their library. And if you want to do a capsule, they recommend starting with just like 10, 15 items. And every day they kind of give you a different combination of how to wear it. You can add your own accessories or sunglasses. So I switched it up with purses and different things that make it easy. But in reality, since January, we're now in April, I've been wearing the same 21 pieces of clothing and have been fine. Never looked back. Everything else sits in the other side of my house till I'm like ready to give it away. But that has been instrumental in getting me dressed and ready for the day and feeling confident and not feeling decision fatigue, feeling overwhelmed that I have too many things and can't make a decision when I have there's so many decisions. What's for breakfast? And everyone needs everything, right? So it's the one thing that's become really easy and has helped my confidence big time.
I love that.
Yeah. So next thing I would say that has been huge for me is getting help with laundry. So when we became an official family of 5, I kind of freaked out about how much laundry it
I can't
tanks.
even imagine. I can't even. There's
Yeah.
three of us, and it's
It's,
constant. It's just laundry is like a constant
yeah.
thing. I feel like that should be the
Yeah.
only thing that they teach you at school is that laundry will never go
Exactly.
away, and you should just
It'll never
accept
go
it
away.
now.
Right.
And all through your life, you're just gonna figure out when to do laundry and what's for dinner, and those are the only
Yeah.
answers you
Those are the
have.
things. Those are the things. I have tips for that too. So for laundry, one thing that I really realized is that I don't need to do all the laundry myself. What was happening is I was letting it stack up for like a week or 2 weeks, and then I was doing a massive load that took like all of my time and energy, and I just like needed a nap afterwards and was so angry spending a whole day folding laundry and doing laundry
Yeah.
when I could be spending time with my kids. Like this isn't what it's supposed to be about. So I found an app for that. It's called Sunshare. There are tons of different apps, so if you don't have that one available in your community, there's different ones you can find. But Sunshare will come and pick up your laundry. I literally stick it out in big contractor bags. It's $1 per pound, which FYI is very worth it. I was averaging when we were a family of four and I was pregnant with a third. We were averaging maybe like 60 pounds every 2 weeks, which isn't that
Mm.
bad. $60 every 2 weeks to do your laundry.
But it's worth the
And
2 days that you're getting from it instead of
the
folding the.
time you're getting,
Yeah.
the goal of simplifying, like for me, the goal of simplifying my life and my time is so that I can give that time back to my family in quality ways, right? Because
Yeah.
being strung out and stressed out and feeling overwhelmed and underappreciated, that's not helpful for my family, right? So if there's things that I can, $60 here. Another thing I will tell you that has also helped. So now I don't use Sunshare anymore. Still love them. They would follow all your instructions. Like babies need to be hypoallergenic. Like my husband's shirts need to be hung up. Here's some hangers. It was incredible.
You're
Laundry was done in a day or
also
two.
you're also saving money. I was thinking price wise, if you're doing that, you're also saving money on the detergent, on the water, and the energy that it takes to run it. So it kind of.
Yeah. And especially for times we're feeling overwhelmed, like give yourself permission to let go of something. Now I'm in kind of a quick routine where I do laundry once a day. And I found that that has helped me because it's so much less folding and it feels very quick to me. So my tip there is I have this clock. I actually use it for my kids. So it's called the time timer. I actually brought it. So you can see this is what a time timer looks like. It's a super visual clock, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so this helps like my son and my daughter. It'll help them know when I'm like, we have 5 minutes left to do this, or we have to leave for school in 10 minutes. It gives them an idea of like what 10 minutes or 5 minutes actually looks like because they're two, they're four, No one knows what 5 minutes, like how fast do I need to actually.
I'm 30 and I constantly say 5 minutes, which to me is actually 25 minutes. But I'm like, I can do this fast, but my ADHD brain is like, I just need to get water. In the meantime, I'm like, let me cook pasta and make meal and do laundry. And then it ends up being 25, 45 minutes. And so 2 or 30, anyone can use a good clock to remind them of what a 10-minute look like.
Well, so this is what I started doing is with my laundry. I once timed myself, just like on my iPhone, of like, let me fold my daily laundry, because I do it every day now. It's like clockwork for me. And it took me, I think it was 7 minutes to fold all the laundry, put it away in every kid's room, put it away in my room, hang up stuff for my husband. It took me 7 minutes. And I realized 7 minutes, and how many minutes do I spend a day being like, oh, laundry, oh, I gotta fold laundry, I have to do laundry, oh my God, I better remember to do. You spend so much energy for something that takes you 7 minutes. So now that I know it takes me 7 minutes, every day I'll set my clock for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, try to beat the clock and make it kind of fun, gamify it a little bit. So that's helped with laundry. That also helps in the morning. So in the morning, it's really common to do like a 15 or 25-minute timer for myself. And I just run around and like straighten up, wipe counters
Yeah.
down, do like everything I can in 15, 20 minutes. And my theory is if it doesn't get done that day, it'll get done the next day. I took the time. And
Yeah.
when you really do 15, 20 minutes, you're like, man, I can get a lot done. I can wipe down, kitchen counters, bathroom counters, spray some mirrors, make the beds. It's really easy when you really imagine and visualize this is how much time I actually have to do stuff. So the timer's been huge in terms of cleaning and laundry folding, but definitely recommend a laundry service if you have one in your area. Another thing that is huge for me is meal planning. So I'm somewhat of I like to call myself like a personal chef. It's not that serious. It's like, just for my family of 5, but I share a lot on Instagram. I love to cook and I love to take pictures of my meals. And so I just always had a way of doing things. I was eating, I was finding my recipes on Pinterest. I was eating on Weight Watchers diet. My son is allergic to egg. And so it became like recipes. Okay, make a list, go through the items for Weight Watchers points values, go through the items to see what has egg, to see what doesn't, to see if there's a replacement. It became this long and involved process. And when I was talking with my therapist and saying, I'm enjoying simplifying my life, like someone just does my laundry. Like, what a nice thing to give up. It's just weight off your shoulders. And so meal planning was one of the things that I didn't touch because I figured I meal plan all of the time. And even though it's super time consuming for me, it's not broken. I know what I'm doing. I'm in the same rhythm. I'm in the same routine.
Yeah.
And so finally, through another course that I was in, I said, let me really work on simplifying something that just is time consuming. It's not that I don't know how to do it. It's just a time consuming thing. And so that's what I did. So I found an app that works for me. There's tons of different apps, but I really recommend, even if people think they have the meal prep game figured out, just to see what's available, because I was so shocked. There's an app called Plan to Eat. Nothing short of life-changing for me. What you do, it's an empty database, so it's a computer version and a phone version, and you can upload all of your recipes, anything on Pinterest, and it pulls in just the ingredients in the recipe. So if it's like a whole blog of like, this one time I had a and I didn't like it. Yeah, straight to the point, straight to the recipe, right? So it pulls that information in. Then you can go into your database. You can totally meal plan to a beautiful calendar where you just click and drag. This will be my dinner, breakfast, lunch. Then the best part is you can select that time frame and click shop. And you type in your zip code. It does Instacart, Walmart delivery, so many, and it will upload your cart with all of the ingredients.
Wow.
What I do, it's amazing. It's amazing. I do Instacart with it. I print out the list and then I run to my kitchen and I have the hard copy list and I just check off anything I already have, go back to my computer, I delete it from the list and just send the order. And so I am now planning like menus for like a whole month instead of just, I was doing like each week. Now I'm like, let me do a menu for the whole month. And then what I'll do is Friday, I take my time timer and I set it up and I say, this shouldn't take me any longer than 30 minutes. It shouldn't take me any longer than 30 minutes to select everything for the week, click shop, go through what I already have, cross off what I don't, and submit the order. I add some extras. You can add things always. So for me, that's huge. It builds your whole Instacart. You can swap out replacements and things like that, but that was huge for me. There's some other meal prep services. One's called Prep Dish that's really great. It's for people who have like all day to, do a meal prepping session. I don't pick one day. I'm like throughout the day, I'm like randomly, like right, stirring the pasta water. I'm randomly like chopping an onion at 8 a.m. and like changing a diaper later.
If you've got 10 seconds, you gotta use it. If you've got 15 seconds, you gotta utilize it all.
Gotta do what you can.
I love the idea of running it almost like a restaurant, because a restaurant, the chef will put out, okay, here's my menu, and then somebody else makes sure that you have the ingredients and everything's kind of clean and ready for you to go, so then you can utilize your time at your best ability, which would be being with the family and cooking. And so it's kind of putting it, I love the whole idea of kind of making motherhood as a business. So you show up, you get dressed, this is your own time, you get your own breaks, this is all scheduled and planned out. And I think something that is helpful is, getting dressed. If we stay in pajamas, we just feel like it's casual Friday every day and everything's kind of okay and we kind of feel lazy. But if we dress up and we see it as a job, we take it seriously, we say, okay, how can I get better at this? How can I do this better? How can I be more efficient? How can I provide more? It becomes more of a goal and a set intention where you're like, I'm not just waking up waiting for the day to be over. I'm waking up with a mission, with a reason.
Yeah. There are some days where it becomes such a challenge to kind of get through, and I love the idea of running it like a business, because a lot of the ways that I've simplified are things that I've taken from business. So another tech tip of mine is task management. So I used to use any.do. It's just a list on your iPhone or desktop, and you can just create task lists for yourself. And I just kind of had this long running task list, and I love checking stuff off. I'm super type A, so I like lists and check things off. what I found to really upgrade after now having, right, family of 5 is I now use a free version of Monday.com. And Monday.com is a planning task management software, if you will, desktop and phone, and you create different boards, very similar to like Pinterest. So like I have a board for every kid, every room of the house, every business my husband and I own, each of our cars. Like I have a board for everything. And you can go ahead and schedule tasks. And what I love about Monday.com is you can schedule recurring tasks. So
Oh.
even when I get behind on like inputting, I need to do this at the doctor's office, or when I get behind on that, there are things that when I go check, it's automatically updated because I've set recurring things. So like, you know, every week wash the kids' sheets, or every 6 months to go through the kids' clothes and take out stuff. So even when I'm feeling behind and like I can't even fathom putting a task list together, I can just go on there and it's like this is all you got to handle, and it's so nice because setting up that recurring stuff was huge for me with Monday.com.
That's so helpful. I think one of the biggest things that isn't talked about when it comes to motherhood is that decision making, time consumption, honestly. But not only are you no longer deciding just for yourself, you're deciding for so many other people, and you're running the whole household of like, okay, so here's the decisions, this is what I still need to do with, here's the stuff I need to remember, here's the calendar, here's the thing, where this helps you. First you input it, but then it's kind of making those decisions for you, saying, hey, no, this is the priority, this is what you actually have to do, this is what you actually have to do, this is what you missed, this is what you, because with so many things going on in our brain, it can be hard to truly remember every single thing. That's why we start the lists. But this one kind of reminds you in those specific forms. I have the long one of like where it's the same in the same list. I have like repaint the kitchen and take out the trash on Tuesday, and like daily tasks versus bigger long-term things, just things I need to do. But here it helps you simplify it so it's not an overwhelming list that you look at and you're like,
with one long list. Yeah, I started with one long list, and I love checking stuff off. I love the ease of it. There's something to be said about it. For me, breaking it out into the different boards on Monday.com, it was cool because I could invite my husband to boards. And so like I invited him for sure to the cardboards, and I was like, every 6 months get me service and wash 3 times,
Yeah.
And like, so I was like, this is something you handle. I'm just recurring task assigning it to you, and like your phone will just tell you what to do, and I'm not going to nag anyone about anything.
It's on there. Yeah.
There's that. And then I have a virtual assistant as well, and I gave her access to some of the boards also, so she can help me with things. So if she sees something on the list and she's like, hey, this looks like something I'd be super open to doing, she could just grab something off any of the lists that she's assigned to also.
I have a question about the virtual assistant. So it would be something like sending an email or making a purchase, something that they could do virtually?
Yeah, so I have my virtual assistant happens to be local. She's a friend of mine. And so I luck out that like she'll occasionally, like we were out of baby formula, and this was during the formula recall, and it was a nightmare. And she like pulled up to the house with like hundreds of dollars worth of formula, and it was fantastic.
Wow.
Because we were super stuck. So yes, she is local and she can help me, but most of the stuff, is like I'm driving the kids to school and they have to wear these blue uniform pants, and I am like, oh my gosh, it's freezing. It's Florida. This never happens. So I'm like, can you find navy blue long pants for these kids? These are their sizes. And she can go Amazon, she has access to everything and can just go on and buy the kids something. So it just takes me, I'm literally like voice text into like, can you please do this? She'll make reservations, which by the way, along the lines of making reservations with Jennifer Lopez, it also helps if you're like, this is Jennifer Lopez's
assistance. Oh, I love it.
Helps too.
I love it.
I will tell you, I feel like it sounds really bougie to say, oh, have an assistant, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of women don't know what's available and out there in terms of getting help from people, not just these tech resources, but getting people to come watch your kids, getting mothers helpers, getting virtual assistants. I feel like for some reason women have this like I can do it all kind of thing, and they stretch themselves so thin. And I think many women don't realize the ways in which you can get help. You don't have to hire just a part-time person who's working whatever it is 35 hours a week and in a set schedule. You can find, we had a neighbor's daughter who came and was a mother's helper to me. I needed like a pantry reorganized, and she ran down the street, reorganized my pantry, and I was like, oh my gosh, here's $20
Awesome.
So, a lot of
Yeah.
people just don't know what's available. And so I really tell moms who are feeling overwhelmed that like, where there's a will, there's a way. And like, if you can sit down and figure out like what you need and back it out, there is a chance that there is a way that financially you can make it make sense for you. Something like laundry being $60 for every 2 weeks for the amount of time that gives you back, you can go make $60. Like you
Yeah.
can figure it out. Right. So, I'm huge into that. So yeah, a virtual assistant was also something new for me, but has been really helpful with the task management system. And then one thing we've been working on in our house kind of goes along the same lines of a task management system is paper clutter. So like I'm big on like all of the clutter. There's so much clutter everywhere all the time with kids, and I just like my husband especially. He gets a ton of anxiety. Like if he walks into a room and there's like toys everywhere, I mean like he's out. Like he's like ah, and I'm like this is what happens.
Yeah.
For me, that's like receipts and just paper everywhere.
Stuff.
It drives me
Yeah.
crazy, but it happens, And so one
Mm-hmm.
thing that we're working on doing is getting everything digital. So now receipts, if it's important, I take a picture, I upload it to Google Drive. It's gone. I can throw it out. We're done. Half the things I know I'm never going to need. But it happens all the time. I go to a doctor's office. They give me a statement of the bill of something I need to follow up. Picture, put in,
Yeah.
Caroline's folder, Cameron's folder. And so getting rid of paper clutter has been really awesome too. Now, sometimes what I'll do instead of dealing with it immediately, I just grab all the paper from like around the house as I see it and I stick it in a folder. And then one day a week, which I do more like once every 2 weeks, I go through the folder. So I'm like, oh, look, kids' artwork. How cute. Oh, look, a receipt, garbage, And so I go through all the things like that. But that has been really helpful just in terms of like, people don't realize how much stuff there is around.
Oh my God.
So,
There's just so much stuff.
yes, the papers are everywhere. And I get these, I'm like, how old is this? How long is this? Has just been sitting here for months just collecting dust?
I don't know why we're still sending out flyers. I don't know why everyone's constantly wanting to give me. It almost like annoys me more when I
I'm in
receive
digital advertising
something.
too. So like being in digital too, I'm like, especially like, yes, that's what I'm saying.
But it's so much smarter because if you want to reach somebody, this is going to sound weird, but like their phones is in their pocket. Go for their pocket. They're going to look at it. It's in our phones. It's right there. Send me anything on my phone. I'm likely to look at it even if I don't want to. I'm like, because I'm scrolling through, I'll click it. Okay, maybe I'll throw it away.
Yeah.
But when it's there, I'm almost pissed off that you've wasted my time with this thing, and now it's here and now it's there, and I keep finding the same car. I don't even want a car. Now I'm mad at this car dealership. They keep sending me these flyers of this dang car, and I'm like, and we were looking for a new car, and I'm like, forget the new. No one's getting a car ever from here because they've sent me 5 things, and it bothered me with it. Like, you have ruined my day because I keep finding the same flyer.
I will say, our recycle bin is like always full, stuff like that. I'm happy on days where like it doesn't even come into the house, like where we just toss it.
Oh, yeah.
Before it even gets into the house. But when it does, like I said, I have a system to go through things. Google Drive is where it's at. Google Photos, didn't know that was a thing. Recently found that out. Someone tried it. The iCloud thing is like crazy confusing to me. I never get it. I always need more storage.
Yeah.
And so Google Photos, I'm like, well, this is amazing. And they have connectors that'll connect into your Facebook and save all your Facebook photos and Google Photos. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
no idea. So, yeah, that's really helped. And just, in terms of keeping organized and stuff, I mean, I could go on for days about all of the tech tips, but I will say my last is getting everyone to sleep because that is my favorite time of the day. When everyone is peaceful and calm in their bed and I can go rub everyone's head and rub their back. And sleep has not come easy to all of my kids. Some are great sleepers. Some it's been a little bit harder. So in terms of getting kids to sleep, I love, there's the Moshi app. You might have heard about it or seen advertisements for it. It is an app that has all types of kids meditations and kids bedtime stories and things that are very like, we used to do affirmations before bed. So a lot of things that kind of play into those things. And I put it on my son's iPad and I put it under the bed, not like under his mattress, so under the bed, so that he can't see it because the colors and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, don't look at this, just listen to it. But he listens to these stories and they have themes. So he listened last night to like an Easter egg hunt story. It was super cute. And like, it's nice to have, and there's a lot of music. Like to me, I'm like, would telling a story really put someone to sleep? Like, I don't know. I'm type A, like I said, I'd be up.
I feel like I gotta listen. I can't look away. Yeah, I'm there with you.
Focus. I can't. Yeah, like it's like closing a book in the middle of a chapter. my book has super short chapters. Like you'll feel accomplished like every 5 minutes. You're like, huzzah.
I
So,
like that.
yeah, I like super short. It's made for moms. But yeah, so kind of the same thing is like, but when I listen to these stories, I'm like, oh, I see. They're like, it's got background music and things that really like lull you to sleep. In terms of getting myself to sleep and getting my mind right, because I really think that being thankful and grateful and showing gratitude for our day, as well as waking up and really feeling a sense of purpose and, really telling yourself how your day is going to go is so important. That at night, one thing I've been doing is there's an app called Mama Zen, and they have all these different meditations, just kind of depending on what you're going through. So, and some of them is like, get rid of my mom guilt. Some of them is like, I've had a tough day with my patients. And it really just kind of like gets you to sleep, but gets you back on track of like, these days happen. You're not the first mom to experience this. And it's all built for moms. There's sections, there's pregnancy. That's why I started using it, was during one of my pregnancies, maybe my second. But there's pregnancy sections, there's postpartum sections, there's ones that are just about, feeling uncomfortable in your new, body that gave life, and how to handle that, how to deal with that. And so Mama Zen has been great in terms of helping me reset at night. And then another app that I also use, not related to being a mom at all, but I've used for years, is called Sleep Genius. And that is another one with like the crazy white noise music that
Oh, okay.
out.
Do you fall asleep to that one?
Yes, Sleep
Okay.
Genius I do. And Sleep Genius I fall asleep to at naps, which I am like I don't know many moms that can actually nap, nap
Yeah.
when the baby's napping. I am not a napper by any means, but this Sleep Genius is the one where I have to tell myself I'm taking a nap, you're using this time. And they have a specific one for naps. It only goes 27 minutes, and it has something that I've never clicked that'll be like, why 27 minutes? Like it's an optimized nap time that's like perfect for adults or something.
Big fan of that nap time. You're not too tired or groggy, but you did get that little, like, almost gives you like a boost of energy like a coffee does. You're like, I'm awake and alert. Here I am.
Yes.
But for me to fall asleep,
does just that for me. It's so hard for me to give myself permission to nap, but once I do, Sleep Zen, 27-minute nap, ready to go. So huge. And naps are so great for resetting your day. I don't want to know why it's only 27 minutes, because I don't want to like tell my kids like 27 minutes is a great nap time. Like,
yeah,
we'll go for those couple hour naps. That's fine. So yeah, so that's a lot of the tips that I had to share today. I wanted to make it super actionable for you guys and share everything. Maybe I will give you some links to all of these if you want to share them, Lily, with any of your listeners.
I would love to. I'd love to include any and all of those in the description, so when people are interested, they can just go and get all of them. I love that the main theme almost is giving yourself permission to almost be yourself, so it's giving yourself permission to not feel guilty, to not feel overwhelmed, to know that it's okay to be tired, but also to say, hey, I can utilize these other apps or technology or people, again, if it's running like a business, to say, I can delegate this out. I don't have to do this. This needs to be done, but it doesn't mean that it needs to be done by me. It can be done by somebody else. It could be a neighbor's kid. It could be grandparents maybe can come over. There are certain ways that we can give away and then allows
use the term mom boss. Like, you're a mom boss, people hashtag mom boss. But that's just it. If you really want to be a boss, though, you have to delegate. You have to find ways that you can simplify things. And you can't just run through the motions because you know them and you're accustomed to them, and you can do them while you're half asleep over your cold coffee every day. There's ways that you can buy back your time, and whether that's with an investment in I love the robot vacuum. $50 for a robot vacuum, and like, my house is it's constantly cleaning. I'm like, do you know how much I would have had to pay a person to come here and clean this as much as it's clean? Such a fan.
I've been eager to get it because I want to constantly be vacuuming, but I don't have the time to constantly be vacuuming. That's not where I'm going to put my time towards.
Yes.
I'm a little hesitant because I think my dog's going to get at it, but she's going to get at the vacuum anyway. So you've inspired me to maybe get the vacuum.
I think they get used to it. My dog, even my kids, are used to it now. At first, my son would try to balance things on it.
Oh, fun. Yeah, for sure.
Saying that's going to eat all your toys. Everyone better go clean their room. was very helpful. It's like the vacuum monster now in a fun way.
Yeah.
So it was actually like, actually, we don't do that. It will eat your Legos, so you shouldn't do that.
Yeah. And you can put your
No one's
coffee on
always
it
good.
and I'll bring it to
Yeah,
you.
you bring it to you, exactly.
Yeah.
I will say, if you're looking, there's a mop one too, and I think the mop one is better than the vacuum one. I think it vacuums and mops. It does like the same thing, and I actually think it's better, and it's square, which just makes so much sense.
So much better. I'm always like, how are you going to get the corners?
Yeah, yeah.
How are you going to get
So
I need the mop one for downstairs. Although I heard that mopping isn't good for hardware. But I'm like, how else are you going to clean it?
no.
I guess maybe it's just for tiles. But I'd like to mop I have hardware downstairs and then carpet up top. And I'd like to put one in each and let them roam around and go zoom zoom and pick up all of my hair that fell out, all of dog's hair, anybody else's hair. All the hair. There's just so much hair all the time.
It's insane how much hair there is in a house. That's like just as bad as the paper clutter. Is like hair
Yeah.
everywhere.
You can make
Yes,
wigs
this
out of all
vacuum will
the hair.
get it. Yes, this vacuum will get it. And you can schedule. You can say, hey, so I do like 9 a.m. because that's when I know I'm already out of the house with the kids. So 9 a.m. when I'm out of the house is when it'll do its regular vacuum. And then for the mop, I've sectioned off like 9 p.m. every night when kids are in bed, the whole kitchen gets mopped because I'm like, that whole catastrophe that was dinner needs to be taken care of. And so the mop we just put the chairs up after dinner and we're done.
I'm going to get 2 vacuums today now. I keep thinking, I keep thinking like because I got like the cordless one, so it's easy to lift and go up and stuff. And then I'm like, I should get the Dyson. It's like $500, which is absurd. But everyone's like, it works so good. It works so good. But instead of investing in that, why don't I invest in one that moves by itself?
I mean, that's the thing because what I have is I have a handheld, like a little shark thing.
Yeah,
For,
yeah.
like anything that like is bugging me or didn't get done or
Or just
whatever.
got spilled or...
Yeah, or like the
Yeah.
couch or something if I'm going to do the couch. But we don't have an actual like real
It does
vacuum.
take a lot of
Because
space,
I don't want to
actually.
spend my time vacuuming. I don't
Yeah.
want to do that. I'm like, I'm not going to pay someone to come over and keep vacuuming, but I figure this one-time cost, and I'm now on my second robot. The first one I paid $150 for. It maybe lasted, I would say 3 years, but it's like $150 for 3 years of vacuuming. Like,
Man, yeah, that's good
they
price.
all eventually die. But at the same time, it's like when you're not doing it, I mean, it's like my favorite when I'm like sitting in my office and it's just
I would love to wake up to a freshly mopped kitchen every morning.
well, that's what I'm saying. I set it at night. I love it because no one's like going to be walking through there. No one's going to slip. Like we're good. It actually dries really quickly when it does it. It'll do a dry mop and a wet mop, I think. So I always do the wet one, but it dries really quickly. And it is, I mean, these are the things like when everyone's writing out that Christmas list this year, I'm like, put on there.
Put on your pregnancy baby
Registry or
list.
something. Yes.
Put it on your baby list. Forget the crib. You need the vacuum. So while you're with the baby, the vacuum's going around and around.
Well,
That's
the thing,
a good
But this is
idea.
how you feel like you can do it all. You have to find the ways you can simplify it. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes there's tech issues or you're like, what, it says close the top and I already closed the top. So there's things. There's little frustrations that happen with anything. But the amount of time that those things have saved me, and it's like, when I picture, and every morning I try to I learned this to visualize in the morning, kind of like the person you want to show up as that day. And
I love that.
Some days it's the fun mom. Yesterday we drove up to the coffee place I go to, but we got milkshakes and we turned up like the milkshake song and we were like all like,
okay.
Yeah. Milkshakes. I'm like, that's the kind of mom I wanted to show up as yesterday. But I'm really big on what kind of mom do you want to show up as today? And I'm often that mom that's like feeding her family. My DNA test is on 14% Italian, so
yeah.
I'm just like, I'm really at mangia. And so I definitely thought I was like way more Italian than that, but I'll take 18%. So that's what I show up as. But you know what I don't show up as? I don't show up as the woman folding laundry.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm picturing. I'm not picturing the woman vacuuming. That's just not what I envision when I'm like, how do I want to show up today? I want to show up going swimming with my kids while this vacuum is just going to work. And I'm like, we all got to get out of the house. We're getting the vacuum done,
Yeah.
There are things. So, the mom that I am is the one that does 15, 25-minute timer. I keep the bathroom supplies. Like I used to keep everything under my kitchen cabinet. Like that was where all cleaning products go. Now I have a little basket in the bathroom of bathroom cleaning supplies underneath, of kitchen cleaning supplies here. And so all the supplies are like in the right place. So I literally just pop it out, and I have a roll of paper towels in every single one. So I just pop it out, clean real quick, stick it back under, versus, grabbing and hauling and going back and forth. And so, yeah, I'm like, that's the mom. I want to be super efficient, clean, get it done. Like, I feel good about the house the rest of the day, and
Yeah.
go back to like being a great mom, being a fun mom, and being present.
I think what's really important, something you mentioned, if you don't want to show up as the mom that's doing laundry, it's not even about the action necessarily of doing it, but what it does to you, because it builds that anxiety and then almost resentment, which I've recently learned resentment is actually to envy. And so when you see other people having a really good time, it grows the resentment that you aren't giving yourself the permission to do the same. Instead, you're saying, well, I have to be the one folding laundry. And so, which in no way should we ever do is hold resentment against our kids or spouses, because they're doing their best in dealing with their own stuff, but because we're unhappy in the action that we have taken, because we said we have to do this. So I love that your ways is saying, no, you don't have to do that. If you need laundry to get done, let's figure out the best way to do it. So you're not, because your kids love seeing you with that gleam in your eyes, like your dog who's excited to see you that you're home. Your kids want to see that from their mom, saying, oh my gosh, yes, let's play. Oh my gosh, let's do this and that. Instead of, I am so tired of folding laundry for the last 3 hours. I need a break. The kids, it's not the kids' fault that they made laundry, or your fault, or your husband's spouse's fault that they made laundry. It's no one's fault. It just would. If you don't want laundry, you can also run around naked all the time. It's just not accepted by society, but it's no one's fault. And I think we often put a fault at something. So it's like, oh, I got to do all these dishes and it's the family's fault because we ate dinner. It's like, we were just eating dinner. Like, I'm sorry for eating if now you're mad at it. So we want to take that. Yeah, we want to take away that guilt, that feeling, that growing that of resentment of, oh, I have to do laundry again. Oh, I have to mop again. Oh, I have to do this again. And that the feeling, we want to get away from that feeling.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, I have a lot of work personally that I need to do on like boundaries and setting boundaries. Not That's never been an area that I felt really strong about in my family life particularly. But one thing, because I catch myself with resentment all the time, and one thing that I learned about with resentment is if I'm just writing out like why I'm feeling resentful, just a brainstorm of like, because I'm doing dishes, because I'm doing laundry, because I'm doing this, the expectation that, oh, my partner should do more of this, or and by the way, my partner's fantastic. He does a ton of stuff. It's just not anything on that list. He just does all of he cleans the outside pool. He does all of his stuff that helps me, picks up dog poop and things that I don't even think about. But it's nothing on the list that's stressing me out, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I bet it would if he stopped doing it, but it's nothing on my current list. But when I write out all those things of like, what am I feeling overwhelmed by? What am I feeling stressed by and resentful of? All of those things I work to solve for myself. How can I solve this? Can I get a robot vacuum? If you can't afford one, can you have it be a Christmas present? Have everyone throw in for it? Have, figure out a way to do it. Donate some things, share, sell some items and things that you have. If this is something that's really stressing you out, there's a way to find a simple way to do things. Like I said, the wake up, out of all the tips I shared, the hardest one I think was the okay to wake timer, because it took a lot of training with my son to be able to like really get that time. But once I'm able to get that, like, okay, prepared, ready for my day, 30 minutes, I'm dressed in my capsule wardrobe, got at least a little bit of makeup on and feeling okay about it, So
I think that's the big difference, because if we compare, let's say, working at home, so you wake up, you're always with the kids, and you never really get that escape, versus going to work. You usually have the morning to yourself, and then you drive to work so you can set your morning, and then you're at work, whatever work happens, and then you come home, you kind of calm down and you decompress, and then you kind of start it. But when we do our regular work without kids, we have that time. We have that time to get ourselves ready, to wake up, to say, this is what I'm going to do. But we usually, when we're staying at home with the kids, we don't allow ourselves at that time. It's just constant with kids, constant doing something, constant. And so it does become overwhelming, because there isn't a break to restart, a break to
reset. It's so hard, and I mean, I see it all different ways, right? I have friends in all walks of life. I have some that love that morning ride in. I have some that feel really guilty, and is this where I'm supposed to be? Is this the best use of my time? And so seeing every mom, and it's, again, like, back to the book where we have every different type of mom being represented. That's, same is true for stuff like this, and how we balance things is every mom is going to feel differently about it and feel like their time could be better spent doing this or doing that, or what makes them feel alive. Some women, it's going to a big, powerful job and really feeling like I have made a difference here today. I have broke some glass ceilings. All the, some people, that's what makes them feel alive, and they can come home and they can be a better parent because of it. They can raise strong, independent women. Some women, that's what gets them. Other women, it's spending more time with their kids. But the thing is that no matter what it looks like and what sets you on fire, you need time to be able to focus on that and to do the things that really make you feel alive. And I just don't feel like we are given the short end of the stick with having all of these responsibilities, half of which we're self-imposing, that need to all be written down on a list of what are all the things that we have self-imposed and how are we going to solve for them now. So I'm super big on, what you do with that time, how you buy back your time, I feel like is on you. For me, it's being the fun mom that gets to go jump in the pool with my kids when I've already showered for the day, and I'm like, please no one splash me. But it's being the fun mom and doing that, it's having a big gourmet meal every night that, half the time my son is like, I hate it. My daughter's a super foodie, so she's into everything, but it's whatever you want to do with that time. I think that's important. And once you start doing a few of these things here and there, and kind of relying now, I'm super big on don't just rely totally on all these apps and stuff, or your face is going to be in your phone. I'm big on setting do not disturbs on my phone too. I have
big fan.
Past 10 p.m. There's a do not disturb. I also only have my phone ring for certain people, like my assistant, my husband, my mom are pretty much the only people, and my kids' school. That's important. Yeah. But no one else can it'll
disturb.
Ring, but you just can't it'll you can leave me a voicemail or something, and I'll get to it when I get to it, but it's not gonna interrupt whatever time I'm doing. We're already doing, like you said, stirring pasta water. We're already doing enough stuff. I don't need my phone to ring. I don't need to talk to anyone unless you're on that contact list. So big fan on how we spend that time that we get back. And I think that's what women are going to find out is as they start doing these things, they'll have more time and what they can do with that time. And if you need to use what you can do with it to motivate you to simplify, it's a great way to do it too.
I love that. I love just being the idea of looking into things that you don't want to do. If you think your day's overtaken by chores or the mundane things or whatever, okay, so coming up with a solution. And if we're talking financially, somebody can't afford the apps or the services, there's other ways of doing it with neighbors' kids. Hey, if you do all of our laundry, because kids want to make money, it could be $10 for them.
Yes.
But utilizing all of these other ways of doing things or coming back to the traditional ways of trading. Hey, if you do our laundry or pick up the dog's poop, we have a neighbor kid who started doing picking up dog poop. She's trying to make money, and she'll just do that. And then you talk to it's oh, well, I don't know, we have chicken, so we'll give you guys eggs and you will pick up the dog poop. There are ways to find
for trade. Yes.
For trade. Yeah.
I absolutely am a big fan of that. I think that, there's creative ways, moms are so powerful and they're so smart, and they're driven, problem solving women. And there are so many ways that they can make their lives work better for them. And what I would challenge you to do too is when you're writing down, what are the things that I'm doing that are, a time suck. Like I said, I don't skip over the ones that this is a time suck, but it's also easy for me. There are many things that I thought were easy that I can make easier or non-existent for me.
Because they're still time consuming.
Some people might feel like vacuuming's not a big deal for me. I can zone out and listen. Some people might feel like vacuuming's not a big deal. I'm listening to a podcast. But there could still be a way that would you rather be doing that or sitting down having a coffee listening to your podcast, because you could have a vacuum in the back doing it.
It's such a just thinking about opportunity cost. Yes, I can wipe down the counter and it's quick for me, but each time I wipe down or mop or broom or vacuum or put away the things or do any of those things, any of those actions or chores, there's an opportunity cost to it because you could be doing literally anything else. And so instead of, if it's spending time with your kids or getting time to yourself, instead of vacuuming, even if it's 10 minutes, 7 minutes, let's say it's 5 minutes to vacuum, but that could be 5 minutes for you to just sit with your coffee and scroll through social media. If that's what you want to do, you go scroll and you go like your friend's post and say, hey, that's really cool. I have 5 minutes to comment. I can leave hundreds of comments from my friends now because you've given yourself those 5 minutes.
Yes, and it makes you feel more connected, right? You're more connected to people. And so, really how you want to spend that time. I just think it's so exciting to think about what could be possible. I always, I've never been a hobby person. I've always wanted a hobby. My husband fishes. I'm I have no hobbies. During this pandemic, with literally all the time in the world, even though I was locked here with all these kids, I was trying to find hobbies. I did one of those paint by numbers things, and I got super. I wouldn't say I'm great at it, but I really enjoyed I would go into my office at night, do some essential oils, and listen to some great '90s music. I'm a super big '90s kid, so I would listen to all the '90s music and do my paint by numbers. I'm man, if that's something I could do again, it just gave me such new life, and so that's, think about the things that make you feel relaxed and new life, and self-care. That's one big tip I have is something I learned is self-care does not look the same for everyone, and there's different types of self-care. It took me a long time to understand, I'm whatever, self-care, manicures, whatever. They're probably not even done yet. So it's, because it's I don't think that's a fun time. I don't think it's a fun time driving somewhere and sitting there for hours. I'm not about it. And it doesn't relax me. And I can't be on my phone, which is where I want to be connected and doing stuff. So I just have to sit there and give up an hour and yes, I have nice things. But so self-care can look don't think, oh, I'm buying back time so I can go do more stuff that doesn't light you up. So I can go get a manicure if that's not what you want to be doing. Go take a walk in the park. Go, for me, sometimes I use that time to go jump on my treadmill, which I actually find super fun. I just walk. I'm not running anywhere.
I almost picture it like a giving yourself a mini vacation. Because you use vacation to go and regroup, refresh, whatever. And so if you have that now 20 minutes, 30 minutes, what is your mini, and it could be staycation. So it could be, if it's for somebody who likes to garden, go and check in on your plants, or go take that 20-minute bubble bath. If it's 27 minutes, you can take a 27-minute nap with that app.
That's exactly the way I think about it. Literally trade out time. Guess I set, and it'll tell you, this is my vacuum tells you it takes 38 minutes to clean all the kids' rooms and bedrooms. I'm 38 minutes, watch me go do something. So exactly that. Yes. Trade it in for a nap.
I love that. That's how I am currently with my time, where I'm if I shower for 7 minutes, if I don't shower today, this is the 7 minutes I can put towards this thing. And I use time as currency, because I'm but if I get the 20 minutes in the morning, if I now push it, I can add this 20 minutes, this 40 minutes. Now I have an hour, so I can finish an hour task versus 2 20 and 40-minute tasks. I think you get it.
100%. Yeah, I'm that way with doing my hair. I'll shower every day, but I won't wash my hair every day. And so that'll be I'll be it's hair washing day. I need to have enough time to blow dry it so that it lasts for a few days. It's it's a big day around here. Last thing I will say, just related to your vacuum, because I know we've talked to death about this vacuum, but
I gotta get this vacuum.
I know. I named my vacuum. You can name your vacuum, and I named it your husband. So whenever it's done, Alexa will be your husband's finished cleaning your kitchen, and I'm just oh, Alexa, stop.
Alexa, get it together, first of all.
I'm oh God.
I'm such a big fan of that.
Yes, so you can name it something fun. It'll also give you phone messaging, and it'll be your husband has an error, and I'm again. Troubleshoot your husband. So it'll also say really funny messages that just give me a kick, a little laugh. But it is fun to say, I'll be ask my husband to go clean the kids' room or something, and so we make a joke out of it at our house. So
I love that. I love that it's a little uplifting, fun thing too throughout the day, where it's just do, but a little cheer you up. I love how you've organized your life and you're really taking it on instead of like, oh, something I have to do as far as like motherhood and all the things I have to go with it. But like, I'm going to show up and do it. I am the mom boss. I'm going to run this as a business. I'm going to show up and say, hey, I'm here to do well. I'm here to do better. I think when we think of jobs, because we want a promotion, we want to get better at things, like we do show up and we get dressed and we, but we forget to when it comes to motherhood because we're so comfortable in our home. So it's like, well, let's stop being comfortable. Let's make it better. Let's make it exciting. Let's show up for not only ourselves, but our families as well.
100%. Yeah. Exactly.
I love that. I love all of your information. I love all of your tips. Before we go, let's go through your books and where people can find you so people can follow for more of these tips and info about your second book as well.
Sure. So the book that I have out now is called Why I Cried, Tales from Hysterical Pregnant Women. You can buy it most places. Amazon, Target online, Walmart online, Barnes & Noble online. Easiest place is always Amazon. Comes to you super quick. Great baby shower gift too. Speaking of things to add to your registry. I've actually had a lot of people who aren't even moms think that it was, or aren't even pregnant, think like, wow, this really took me back, like a nostalgic thing. So just a fun book. And you can find me on Instagram at Why I Cried. And the second book that is supposed to be out is called Why I Laugh, Tales from Talkative Toddlers. So that is funny stories from my kids now that everyone's talking and has so much to say. So lots of fun stories. My Facebook friends and stuff will know I shared a ton on Facebook, and so we kind of gathered all those together, and now we're encouraging other moms to submit their stories. So I'm hoping that'll be out by the end of the year. And hopefully proceeds for that book will go to a literacy foundation. So we're just looking for the right partner for that right now. But yeah, so lots of fun stuff. I would love for any of your listeners to find me on Instagram, to DM me, start conversations. I'd love to hear how they're simplifying their life. I'd love to hear if they pick up a copy of my book. I would love to connect with everyone.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all of your tips. I think a lot of people can find comfort in getting out of the comfort, making sure like if they delegate all this stuff, they don't have to do it on their own, and they can show up as a better mom when they have the freedom to let go of some of these chores and responsibilities that we, I don't know, make ourselves go crazy with saying, hey, I have to do this, So thank you for all of your tips. And I'm excited to read the book. I'm going to get a copy.
Awesome. Love that. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you for being on. I'd love to have you back on again. We can talk more about your book maybe after it comes out, or if you have more tips and stuff, we can do a check-in later if you'd like.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thanks so much, Lily.
Of course. Bye. Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.